Kenya is very much at a stage of development where, particularly in rural areas, where Ireland was 50 years ago. And that there's many similarities, not just in that, but perhaps in the way that we moved out of poverty and into, to being one of the most developed countries in Europe. And key to that was education, but key to education as well was an investment in science and an appreciation for science. I'm a scientist myself, and I have great respect for the extent that good science can contribute to good development. And in Ireland, one of the key factors in actually contributing to our knowledge economy, to the fact that we're now have one of the highest skill sets in Europe in terms of young people, was the Young Scientist Initiative started over 50 years ago.
In Kenya we are still very low in performance in the STEM, but with initiatives like the KSF and the one which is just coming in, the Young Scientist Kenya, we will hope that one day you'll be somewhere near Ireland the way it is. We hear that it was a poor country, but it has moved up. Even in Kenya, we'd like to be there one day.
It's a country that is quite well educated, but it's a country that doesn't have the skill sets that can attract foreign direct investment, or that sometimes the university education doesn't prepare students for the needs of the marketplace.
We want to have those big institutions which can actually drive the innovations and interest the students, so that interest the students to become innovative.
Those innovations can now be used to bring about science and development in Kenya. And I can tell you all that this is what we need in Kenya. This is what is going to drive our economy. We have read about what has happened in Ireland and what science has done. That is where we are going.
I very firmly believe that the kind of benefits that we've seen in Ireland, we will see in Kenya very quickly. And I think it's a natural area of cooperation which will be good for Kenya, but it'll also be good for Ireland, because it'll forge institutional links and ultimately it'll help strengthen relationships to bring better business relationships between our two countries.
All those of us that are interested in development of Kenya, our country, come and support us, because one way that we are going to develop this nation is through science. Science for development.
So I think mine is to say we support this initiative, and we look forward, as part of the promotion of science, to playing our role to create innovators for the future for this country.
Into that, I think Ireland has a role to play, and we've had discussions over the last year with senior representatives of government, from the Office of the President to the Ministry of Education to the National Commission for Science, Technology and Innovation. And they already have several science-related initiatives here to incentivise the learning of science. But when we discussed, and when Joe Clowry came from Tanzania and explained how the Young Scientist Tanzania evolved, how it linked in with the Young Scientist in Ireland, then we could really see what the opportunities were for Kenya.
I know, for example, Tanzania has started for the last 4 or 5 years, and we want to borrow on the success of the Tanzanian model, and we would want also to see that this activity is enhanced in this country.
We are talking to all the industries. Any industry, even as you give back to the society, embrace the Kenya Young Scientists so that you can support us get where we have always wanted to be. People
here are interested in what the factors of success were to the Young Scientist in Ireland. And I think the fact that it is administered outside of government, that it has an independent board, but I think importantly also that it is not dependent on government for funding, and that essentially most of the funding comes through sponsorship from the private sector. And it's very easy to see why that makes sense for the competition and why it makes sense for the private sector. because they have an opportunity to invest in the very people that in years to come they will be employing. They get a chance to identify the name of their company with some aspects of the competition that they might want particularly to sponsor for technology or physics or mathematics, for example. And they also get an opportunity to deliver on important corporate social responsibility commitments.